What are the main similarities and the differences between India and USA?
Something I think about a lot, because I don't believe in talking about immigration purely in a Western context. I think that's a mistake, because every country has immigrants, refugees, exiles, and it's a discussion that should take place across the globe. I think, just like the discussion about human rights, it's similar. It's a mistake to separate them. What does it mean to be a nation or demand loyalty of a minority population under a certain flag in a land? Yes, the borders have moved, people have moved, landscape is always contested. There really isn't any purity to be found or certainty to be found there. And I really began to think, yes, what are the parallels? I mean, if you are a minority population, should your language be taught in schools? What if you're still treated as a minority in a place where you're the majority? I'm thinking, say, of the Hispanic population in the States. There are often cities where they're the majority. Yet, do they have political power? Do they have economic power? All of these questions. What does it mean to be American? What does it mean to be Indian? Is it fair to set forward a code of laws and says this is what it means? You swear to it. You should swear. Demand an oath of loyalty. Similar, parallel questions.
What's your take on American politics? A few days ago, we had George W. Bush as our guest. What do you think of him?
Yes, I think I just I just missed him. Luckily.
What's your take
on George W. Bush? I think if George W. Bush was a reader, it would be a very different world. It's a wonderful, while I was writing my book, of course, I've read a lot of immigrant writers, and I've read a lot of writers in exile. And there's a wonderful essay by Joseph Brodsky. I think it might have been his Nobel acceptance speech, I'm not sure, but it's called An Uncommon Visage. And he says something like, it would be much harder for someone to shoot someone in the name of some idea, someone who has not read Dickens to shoot someone in the name of an idea than for someone who has read Dickens. So, it's a nice quote, intelligent quote. I'm happy that the elections are coming up and there will be a change no matter what.
So you believe in change?
Certainly. I don't know who. I think I'm completely in the majority by now.
Who do you think is going to win? Obama or Hillary?
I don't know. This is for the first time for me. This is an exciting election in the States.
So you're going to vote?
No. Okay, I'm an Indian citizen. I'm an Indian citizen, so I don't vote. I'm just, I'm just an observer.
So you're just going to be as loud as you can about the subject?
As loud as I can. But somehow, it's not, well, I think it is. Actually, I was going to say it's not in my place, but I think it's in everyone's place. No matter where you are across the world, I think everybody should be demanding change in America. Yeah, it affects everyone.
In Croatia, we have a discussion about entering NATO. How do you feel about that?
That's not for me to really comment on, but I see from an Indian perspective. I always tend to look at the world from an Indian perspective, and I think it's a tremendously difficult discussion that so many nations are going through. Is how exactly to construct this conversation with the center of power. Because the power imbalance has remained intact since colonial times. You're still negotiating that immense power divide, and very much the subject of my work is how it affects you on a personal level when you are obviously on the wrong side of that, and somewhat trapped by it. And it makes me extremely upset when I see the language that's used in these discussions, because it seems like a very old vocabulary. There's an attempt to cast the world in a new light and talk in terms of globalization, but then you really see how this rhetoric of power is constructed, and it's very, very old in its tone and its nature, and it's very clear when you do hear American officials or European officials talking, and it really is a patronizing attitude, which I think the rest of the world is so angry about. People say, where does this anger come from? And I think one of the places where it comes from is this unchanging vocabulary.
On a lighter note, in one of your interviews, you said that you like to write in your kitchen. What's the main difference between American and Indian cuisine? America is usually described as a country with a very bad cuisine. Is that true?
They would argue against that. I live in New York, so it's a place which luckily opened doors to every kind of cuisine. But I don't understand this fascination with food in my work. It always surprises me, and I think in the end it's a way talking about food and the way people eat together, what they eat, their manners as they're eating. It's a way to talk about differences, differences in cultural differences, class differences. It very much places you, no matter how much you travel or what where you're from. It's a very sort of distinct. It makes the differences very clear.